What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Shopper. Well, no, I'm not on the Odd Shopper channel. I'm on the Stochastic channel. I don't even know what channel I'm on. Do you know what day it is? Do you know what year it is? Do you know what world we're living in? What? All right, this is your PGA DFS first look. There's some things going on in the golf world. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way your hands are clean. That means everything's good. PGA Tour Rainmakers. This is a great product. You guys should definitely be checking this out. Proud to be sponsored by them. Love their product. It will never let you down. It will be the staple in terms of golf's NFT world and PGA DFS world combined into one. You can get a free pack below in the video description box below. I would take advantage of that. That's really great stuff. Again, will not let you down because it's free. You can jump in that secondary marketplace, take advantage of all the great other offers that they have going. There's a UFC card this weekend, $289. Looking forward to that one. I got my packs. You should get your packs for that too. We got the RBC Canadian Open. That's what we're going to talk about here now. We're going to talk about PGA DFS like we always do. I go through the top golfers tool here at Stochastic. I'm going to talk you through a little bit of lineup generator action as well. Yeah, we're not going to do any fantasy cruncher today. We're going to focus then on my single entry lineup and get ourselves the heck up out of here. US Open next week in LA. I'm going to be boots on the ground there for you. Excited to be walking LA Country Club. Ironically enough, I've played Riv a bunch of times. I've played, I'm just thinking of like every prestigious course. At Brentwood Country Club, I think is pretty great. Hillcrest Country Club, they just had the US Open sectionals. I qualified for my US Mid-Am out of there. That was an awesome golf course. So many great golf courses I've played here in Los Angeles. I've never, ever played LA Country Club. So I'm very excited. They have the two courses. They're going to be mainly using the north. So that's going to be awesome. Very much looking forward to the 18-hole breakdown. Again, I'll be on the course Monday. I'll be on the course again on, no, not Monday, Tuesday. I'll be there. Yeah, I'm going to be there and then a lot of the days on the weekend. So looking forward to that. If you are too, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and get in before the third major of the year. Yes, the third major of the year. You want to be jumping in the Rainmakers PGA Tour streets. Get Scotty Scheffler or John Rahm. Just start off your packs with one of those two. You'll be happier for it. That is for sure. Just like I'm just so happy right now. Again, PGA Tour, great contest here. A couple of gated ones. Get in this Discord one as well. Jump in the Discord there. For the DraftKings marketplace, get yourself some access to a great little contest. It has to be group or 3 or 4, meaning your cards are not going to be very good cards. And it doesn't matter because, well, it's only competing against group 3 and 4 cards, which are like your back half PGA Tour players that are playing at the RBC. And oh boy, we have a lot of them to break down. Let's jump over here. And I think kind of a little bit of a prequel here for you. Canadian Open, they're doing a little bit of a nomadic thing where they're jumping around parts of Canada, playing different golf courses there, mainly in Ontario, anything just outside of Toronto. I mean, that's going to be where all the people are, and you want to be where the people are. Look at this. It's just wild stuff. Anyway, it is what it is. We're going to be going over to Oakdale Golf Course, and, want to give a shout out to Jeff Feinberg, who is on Twitter. Great follow, great dude. Apparently this is his home golf course or something. He's at least walking the golf course. And well, the rough looks a lot longer than I was expected. I did a video breaking down some stuff earlier this morning with Greg Ehrenberg. Talked for like 2 seconds. Mainly we covered the UFC streets, and then some stuff happened in the golf world today. Some stuff happened. But there is a golf tournament going on, and well, he has his boots on the ground. He's walking around that golf course just like I'll be walking around LA Country Club. And rough looks a lot longer than I was expecting it to. So off the tee game going to be something that I'm going to start focusing on. And well, there's nobody a lot better than that in the world of golf than Rory McIlroy. And at $11,500, he gets our tour started. He's historically played really well in Canada. Won there again last year. Just wins there a lot. I'm going to jump out of DraftKings Rainmakers, even though very happy to have them as our sponsor. We're going to be jumping over to Rory McIlroy, who, again, last year won. He's playing pretty darn good golf. I think the questions of his demise were greatly exaggerated, although maybe he is just pissed doesn't want to show up, temper tantrum. I don't know. Coming off of back-to-back T7s, is pretty good. Fell apart on Sunday. That could have been really, really nice for any backer there. Shoots 70. He wins the golf tournament. So just saying, there's some opportunity here for Rory. Major bounce back spot relative to like what we would say for Rory. I mean, he's 11.5. He's the most expensive golfer here for sure. Leverage. Now, the leverage column here is interesting because ownership and optimal are identical. I'd be a little bit surprised if we didn't see Rory get steamed up a little bit before Wednesday. Now, you can always check out PGA Live Before Lock, the PGA DFS staple of the industry. That is Jeff, my guy, Jeff Ulrich and Ben Raza. They break everything down for you Wednesday night. I'm coming to you Tuesday morning. So it is what it is. But looking at my dude Rory, be very careful. See what this number ends up changing to. But here's my thing. I want to go on like 48 different rants right now, but this is the one I'll go on. If it came down to just recent form and clicking on names of people who are playing well, that'd be one thing. If it was just about finding positive leverage and identifying players that are playing better than people think that they are, than the field thinks they are, that'd be another thing. But it's a combination of everything. We are trying to project out when to use chalky players, when to use not chalky players, because Scotty Scheffler just plays well every freaking week, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yet again, finishes just behind that playoff between Denny McCarthy, Victor Hovland. You could have played both of them in a lineup with one Scotty Scheffler and found a way to a ridiculous team. There were some teams that had iterations or things close to that. Pretty wild to see those three. Again, Scotty Scheffler just doing it every single time in this field with these top players. Rory, back-to-back T7s. I think you're going to see him gain more ownership. Want to be paying close attention to that here in the Top Golfers tool, but surprised to see my guy Sam Burns. Sam Burns is pulling the next amount of ownership here. Of course, there's positive leverage on my guy Sam Burns. I don't even recognize. I think Tyrrell Hatton is just a better play straight up than my guy Sam Burns to a certain extent. But it's all about what this ownership ends up being. If he's going to be 3 times more popular, I have to play Sam Burns. I have to. The guy's such a boom bust type pick. Now coming off of 2 back-to-back starts where he's looked pretty good to me. That Memorial gained strokes in every single category across the board. And then at the Charles Schwab, he always plays well at Colonial, won it in 2022, played well there in 2023. And it just comes down to iron play. He has not lost over a stroke putting in a single tournament this PGA Tour season, which is kind of a ridiculous little number to be looking at over at PGAtour.com, the one true golf tour of the world, or whatever. We have the lineup generator. We'll break down a little bit more later. But at the 10K range, this is such a wild situation to be looking at. But I see Hatton getting a ton of ownership. I could see Rory getting steamed up, and I'm just going to live and die by my guy Sam Burns. I think that happens to me a lot more than it should. But won the match play. I'm up money on him on the year betting. I'm up money on him in DFS over my lifetime, even if I didn't even take advantage of it at the match play. We're going to be playing it there. But either way, we're going to get ourselves to the 9K range, which I think is a very fun range. We have Canada's finest Corey Connors, Matt Fitzpatrick, who won the other RBC event, that being at Hilton Head. Now, well, he sets up well at every golf course, especially if he's healthy, especially coming off of a Masters that I didn't even play him at. I think that I probably reacted a little bit too much to his press conference, but T10 coming off of the back-to-back missed cuts just turned it on. He's looked good. PGA Championship will exclude that golf course from humanity. Finishes top 10 with a 76 in the first round. What a time to be alive. Matt Fitzpatrick also helps to play the Memorial in the mornings when you're out of contention. And then you can Scotty Scheffler it up. Put yourself back into contention. I'm not bitter. Don't worry. I'm just so glad he's not in the field this week. That would be ridiculous. But we're looking at Shane Lowry, Cameron Young, and this is the one that I'm pretty vehemently against here this week. Cameron Young, 9,300. I think these green complexes are pretty interesting. You can go to Google Maps now. I'm not going to go to Google Maps because I don't want to get in trouble. I would love to talk you through some of that stuff here at some point in time. I should ask what I can and can't do here in terms of talking through it. But when I'm mapping out my golf courses, when I am going to go play a place blind, or if I have a qualifier, or if we have a team match or something out here in Cali, I can basically pull up whatever I want on Google Earth, and I can look at the golf course and kind of see some contours and what it looks like. And I got to say, I was a little bit surprised to see how tricky some of these green complexes are at this golf course. You also get some of these weird carry shots. And now if the rough is going to be playing longer, could be interesting. Now, you have a lot of these shorter par fours, like 4 or 5 of them that exist here on this golf course. I still think you're going to be able to iron it, wedge it. I still think a lot of birdies are up for grabs, but Cameron Young has like a broken beyond broken putter profile right now. If he putted it like Denny McCarthy, he'd be the best player in the history of golf. He just would be. He's absolutely a flippin' stripe show here at the moment. And I think you just want to kind of be invested. You want to be invested immediately in the opposite direction of the chalk when we're talking about one of the chalkiest golfers. I believe the third chalkiest. Yeah, third chalkiest golfer being Cameron Young. Hit a really cool flop shot practicing on Instagram the other day. Doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Also, Toronto, not that far away from Sleepy Hollow Country Club where he grew up there in New York. I mean, New York and Canada, they're right. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It is what it is. But Cameron Young is just pulling a ton of ownership. I'm going to be pretty vehemently against that play. Just like I'm against a couple of these super chalky plays. Justin Rose, pretty surprised to see his optimal percentage as high as we have it. I am more inclined to be clicking on Shane Lowry there at 9,400, even with far more negative leverage. I guess that's a tick and tat type of situation. I also want to get $300. We'll get to that when we get to the single entry portion of this program. But like what we're seeing out of Shane Lowry, a lot of box score watching on the show today. Again, it's not always about what you've been doing lately, but nice to see a pulse at the Memorial, 76 there in round 2. Otherwise, 3 decent little rounds of golf. Sunday playing the most difficult out of everything there. And the PGA, we were pretty heavily on him at the PGA. That worked out pretty nicely, I would say. Getting a T12 there. Couldn't beat Michael Block, could he? Did he? Oh, he beat Michael Block, didn't he? Gotta look it up. Fact check myself. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He did beat Michael Block. Down with the Blockster. Do not click on Michael Block this week at 6,100. Friends, do not let friends do that. That'd be absurd. Please don't. But either way, we're back here to the Top Golfers tool. And my friends, my friends. Tommy Fleetwood, 9,600. Positive leverage. Oh, daddy. GoDaddy.com. Give me all of that you got in a bag of potato chips. I like him. Thigala, not really going to be there this week. Although, I mean, the guy has, 7 top 10s now over the course of this PGA Tour season. Again, I'm fact-checking myself a lot. Yep, that says 7. DraftKings tells no lies. Dead men tell no tales. Matt Kuchar, 9,100. No, thank you. I get the positive leverage there. But I would be much more inclined. Keith Mitchell is kind of an interesting guy to kick off the 8K range with. He's sitting there next to Adam Hadwin, who is from the country of Canada. It is a country. They're our neighbors. Good stuff. I like both of them. I think both of them at 89 and 8,700 are nice mix-ins where you get away from some of these 9K players. Again, Justin Rose, I'm just a little bit confused. Somebody can explain this to me. That'd be great. He's played good, but I feel like I'll take the $1,000 savings and go to Adam Hadwin and just play more of him just about every single time. People want to just overreact to all the miscuts and all the land. And also, Justin Rose, let's be serious. The U.S. Open's next week. Think he's going to grind out his T20 for you? I mean, he probably will. He always is grinded. He's always on the range, always practicing, always doing the things. I like Justin Rose, but I don't like him at this ownership, and I'm happy to embrace some of the guys who are playing terrible and is what it is. I'm going to click on Keith Mitchell, Adam Hadwin, and Adrian Morag getting this much ownership. That is just wild to me. Adam Svensson, yet another Canadian. Hey, Canada, you have a USC event and a PGA Tour event in the same weekend. One in Toronto, one in Vancouver, eh? Put on your snowshoes. I'm doing like a Minnesota accent. That made no sense. Well, it makes sense if you're from South Dakota like me and they start sounding the same. But how about this? Ludwig Gebert. How about this? Everybody is finally picking up to what I picked up on long ago. Remember when Thigala? It's like 6,500, 7K, 7,500, number one amateur. And now we're seeing the number one amateurs come out with PGA Tour cards. They're 8,300 in their first professional event. Well, actually, second technically. He played in U.S. Open sectionals on Monday. Missed by 2. I think he lost to Michael Block by a shot. That's a conversation for a different day, but whatever. And Michael Block didn't qualify either. They both just missed out by 2 or 3 from a playoff. But I'm going to be getting to Ludwig Berg in some capacity. Not going to be going nuts. You don't need to get way over the field. He's already being owned. I just want to point out that the pricing's gotten sharper and people recognizing this have gotten sharper, although I could see him coming in lower. It's a name not everybody's familiar with, although do you feel like you missed out on Nick Taylor, these other guys? Nikolai Hogard, nobody wants to click on that one apparently either. Pretty wild stuff that we're looking at here. But now we're into the 7K range. And this is where I think we can have a lot of fun. Sam Stevens, no thank you. No thank you at this ownership. Vincent Norman at this ownership, no thank you. Brandon Wu, yes, I'm okay with a little bit of negative leverage there. But this upper 7K range, my friends, Michael Thorbjornsen, he is a golfer. And I get it. You don't want to look at one result. Last year, Connecticut puts up a T3, top 5 or whatever it was. As Jesse and downside of me in Discord would say, the worst play. Oh, Eric, the worst play in the history of Showdown. He probably was the worst play in the history of Showdown at this point in time. But the kid's a downright stud. Like, he's an absolute stud. He's going to be another one of those guys who comes up and just starts making an impact instantly. I'm okay getting to a little bit in 150. No way he's going to get close to a single entry or anything like that, but I'll have a little sprinkle of him at 1.4%. Again, just wild to me to see all the pedigreed juniors that I used to be getting at 65, 6,800, and now they're just carrying tons of ownership. The guy also just wins at an elite amateur level, and I like that about him. Winners tend to keep winning, but let's go to 7,900, where Eric Cole, I have not been in on Eric Cole at all this entire season outside of trying to make Bay Hill a thing, and well, let me just tell you, Bay Hill was not a thing. Even though that's his home golf course, that's where he grew up at. But T24 at the workday, I think this is actually kind of an inspiring outcome. And seeing 3 of these, pretty good numbers to be looking at. I am pretty inspired by seeing Eric Cole start to put some results together. He makes me happy. Makes me happy at that kind of a range, pulling absolutely no ownership. And God, I don't want to give Jesse another shout out, but if you go over to Eric Cole and you look at his strokes gain data, it looks pretty nice. 10th in strokes gained short game amongst this field in his last 50 rounds, and 6th with the approach. I am pretty iron heavy in my model this week. I think it makes sense to be on golf courses that you're not really sure what you're going to get. Off the tee game, I don't want broken people by any means. And Eric Cole, 100th in strokes gain. That's not inspiring if this rough is going to play difficult. But if it's not as bad as what it could be, you could look at him correlating with some other short game players, with some other iron guys. He makes a nice grouping with a number of ways that I want to build out my lineups. Aaron Wise, no thank you. That's going to be another pass for me. No freaking way. That's not going to happen. But Maverick McNeely, 7,700. Hello range that I'm very excited for. This 7,800 one. Taylor Pendrith. God, oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Blame Canada. There we go. I had South Park and their national anthem mixed up. Aaron Rye. There you go. He's always going to be, give me my whiskey rye. I love it. It's delicious. And then as you move your way downtown, walking fast, faces Hassan on homebound. Charlie Hoffman withdrew, so don't play him. That'd be bad. He had a 2-for-3 playoff that I think he got in. He'll be in the U.S. Open. Not that we're going to be playing him by any means, but Garrett Kago, wild to see him finally pulling ownership, and that makes him kind of an easy write-off for me because we've been playing him to no avail here of late. So that's fun. But smash that like button as we go to the most positively leveraged players. But I guess we'll start with the negative ones. Ben Griffin, Mark Hubbard, no thank you to either of them at these current ownerships. Mark Hubbard, he can putt from time to time. That's cool stuff. Sam Stevens, we already talked about his write-up. S.H. Kim, look at that. Negative leverage there. Adrian Moronk. You can still mix these guys into lineups. It's not that difficult. You just don't want to be jamming chalk on chalk on chalk. And generally, when you play chalk, you want them to be expensive chalk, like a Tyrrell Hatton, 10-2. Because their results are just less widely distributed. It is what it is. You know what I'm getting at. Aaron Baddeley. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What a day it is in my life. Let's go to the most positively leveraged players, though. Brendan Todd, Webb Simpson. One of those I feel better about than the other. Brendan Todd, of course, that being the one. Lanto Griffin, Camp Champ. Wild to see him pop in. I might have a couple of bomber builds where I kind of group them together. Just take all the bomb city dudes, throw them together and put on a nice sweater. And it's always better when we're together. Guys, it's been a weird day. I don't really know how I'm still doing this show. I'm in such a dark place. But we're going to play some of these guys, and you don't have to get crazy with get into exposure to every single one of these cats. Although Michael Thorbjornsen, I have to play a little bit of Thunder Bear, even though he's not the original Thunder Bear. Thunder Bear Part 2, the sequel, the American Thorbjornsen. Henrik Norlander, wild to see him there. Harry Higgs, if he plays well, God help us all. EVR, some wild shots to be taking here in a couple of these spots, but the most positively leveraged one being Brendan Todd. That's going to be somebody that I think just de facto, I trust our projections. You should too. Makes it fun. And then we can jump to lineup generator and have those be taken care of for you. Use our projections to help you out. Chalky, balanced, contrarian, depends what you're building, but you can build up to 20 lineups here with the PGA DFS lineup generator. Take advantage of that down in the description box below. Check this out. We have NBA, MLB, PGA, again, NFL coming up here very, very shortly, but you want to be getting yourself some exposure here to the PGA one. Let's go. I don't want to lock a player. We're going to skip. We're going to go to and see what we get from our 20 lineups here. You can literally do it like this. Save them. Take a look. 100% Brendan Todd. That's a little bit much. Ludwig Gobert. Give me the Texas Tech kid right there. Brandon Wu. Lots of players that I do like with positive leverage. Mixing them around some less on some negative leverage. Tyrrell Hatton, Rory McIlroy. But of course, I'm going to have exposure to both of them. You should too. There you go. You can export those directly to CSV. Look at me. I can see. That's all I got for you today. Let's go to the single entry build. Round out our program. Again, 22-minute mark. It's the RBC Canadian. We have the US Open next week. I'm sure I'll take a nice long little walk down the park with you here. Sam Burns not going to be in my single entry lineup here this week. Talked about it earlier. I think either Tyrrell Hatton or Rory McIlroy, they're going to be kind of the staples, the foundation pieces. I am going to bet Sam Burns at 14-1, so I'm a contrarian little individual like that. But again, Sam Burns will definitely be a big part of my portfolio when it comes to 150, even if he doesn't enter my single entry build for this week. Shane Lowry, like getting to him here as well. Talked about Cam Young. You're going to see him just steamed up. Thought about Tommy Fleetwood being the guy, but I kind of need this 300. You'll see why. Eric Cole, click. Haven't clicked on him pretty much all season long. Maverick McNeely. This is the one that I think probably will ruffle some feathers. 3 missed cuts in his last 5 events. RBC Heritage Elevated event. AT&T Byron Nelson. Feel kind of like this. PGA Championship. Well, it's the PGA Championship. His putter is phenomenal. You're going to be looking at him and an Eric Cole having a little bit of correlation. And those are 4 pretty freaking good putters. Shane Lowry, short game wise, an iron play. He can spike there in as well. But Maverick McNeely got put behind the 8 ball this season with an injury there before Pebble Beach. Was going to be playing on his track, kind of in his homeland up there in Monterey. Got dinged up. And well, it's been struggle bus here. Undisclosed injury. I think we know that it was a wrist, right? It says undisclosed. Thought it was a wrist. Pretty positive it was a wrist. Maybe I'm making stuff up. But either way, I think he makes a very interesting ad for your builds here this week. Brandon Wu kind of alluded to it. Also, if you saw his Wu-Tan Clan wedge, it's probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. Go to golfwrx.com. If you're a golfer, that website will change your life. But we've seen him Mexico Open, eerily similar to this one, where he had Rahm and Finau and then a bunch of nobodies. Get so scared of being a nobody. Happy I'll give you the old kissy kiss, smoochy smooch. Memorial, PGA Championship, whatever. Such is life. We're going to move on. We're going to be clicking on Brandon Wu here as well. But 7,300 web since we talked about how he exists there. Akshay Bhatia. This is just a player that I'm going to be invested on pretty heavily going forward. He's going to round it out. I don't know if this is in the entire, again, there are iterations of this that I'm going to rotate through and try to find what I want the exact single entry lineup to be. But you have Hubbard, who's going to pull all the ownership. Ben Martin pulling all the ownership. I think clicking on just about anybody else here at 7,300 that isn't one of those two, like S.H. Kim, we talked about earlier. Akshay Bhatia is somebody there. Cameron Champ is positively leveraged. Garrick Higo is actually pulling ownership, but I've kind of been on him with the increased driving game. And hey, I think having some of those overall drivers of the golf ball, if that rough is playing difficult, if it's actually being penal and it doesn't end up being I think the line was like 16.5, 17.5 for an underscore par winning score. I would expect it to be 20. I put 20 in as kind of what I'm looking at. I think I want to be looking at more scores, more birdies, things of that nature. We can probably talk through that process at some point in time too. But as it stands right now, think that this is kind of the range that you want to be left at. You could probably go this away from, I mean, I kind of talked about him before. Brendan Todd, our most positively leveraged golfer, and getting to two 7,300 players. That's kind of an interesting way to do it. David Lipsky's playing some really good golf. Again, so much box score watching. I don't even recognize myself anymore. Just like, well, I don't recognize the PGA Tour, but the PGA Tour, they have a great thing going here with our friends over at Rainmakers. Give them a look. Get that free pack below. Jump in some of those great contests they have going for the RBC. And oh boy, they're going to be doubled when they jump over to the old US Open next week. Going to be awesome. You can use all those beginner starter only cards all in one place. It's great. So check it out, friends. I'm going to get myself the heck up out of here because, well, it's just been one of those days, you know? It's just been one of those days. Until next time, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the PGA DFS streets this week up in Canada. Oh, hey, have fun at the Players Only meeting.